Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV. I hope you guys are well wherever it is that you may be around the world. And today's show is going to be a little bit more that we will talk about the Chelsea players and stuff like that later on, but it's going to be more about built around the owners, the bids. The bids deadline day is today. We're going to go through all of the consortiums, all the news that we know up to now. We're going to also talk about certain partners that have joined these individuals as well. So, there'll be lots to go through on that. We're going to go through some of the topics and Twitter feeds that I've got above. We will open the lines and let everyone get involved as always as well. Sorry I couldn't do a stream here today, but very busy with work. Work has took over today. But being that it's bank holiday weekend, and now I can finally relax and spend the time here with you guys to go through everything to do with the owners. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Big up everyone that's in the chat already. Over 15 of you guys here as well. Nice to see you all here. Like I said, this is going to be more of a serious show today. We're going to go through what we know up to now. More of a detailed show in regards to the owners, what we know up to this point as well. So there's lots to get into and delve into. Make sure you get yourself a nice drink, whatever that may be, some food, sit in front of your, it must be your Android, so I'm assuming your laptop, your phone. Even if I'm on your TV, if I'm on your 4K TV, get yourself comfy. And before we move forward, you know what time it is. Let's cue that intro. Yes, people. Welcome back to GNA TV. I hope you guys are well, wherever it is that you may be around the world. It is bank holiday weekend, like I said, in the UK. So, looking forward to it. Off Friday, off Monday. This will be my last stream until Sunday. Now, Sunday around 12 o'clock, big preview show for that final against Crystal Palace. So we will get into that on Sunday. Today is built around the deadline day of the bids being put forward by the shortlisted consortiums that are left. Todd Boehly, Sir Martin Broughton, the Ricketts family, as we know, and Stephen Pagliuca. You know what? I can't even say his name. I actually feel really bad that I can't actually generally say his name as well. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be. There's lots to go through. I've got tons to go through. Lots we're going to delve into, understand, review, give our thoughts and opinions, get you guys involved as well. We will talk a little bit about Chelsea later on in terms of transfers as well, because there is a lot of news coming on and around Chelsea, players that they may potentially be linked to and stuff like that. So we have got so much to go through, probably for the next hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours. And on top of that, getting the panel in as well to give their thoughts and opinions. Something just popped up in my face, and this is going to make you laugh, yeah? Let's just quickly share this, because this is funny shit. This is actually funny stuff, man. Look what just come up in my face. What is this? Timo put some respect on Timo Werner's name. 15 Champions League goals. More than Ronaldo and the man himself next to him. Mate, that is mad. That is closer, isn't it? That is closer next to him as well. What the hell? Put some respect on Timo Werner's name, people. I don't want to hear any shit about Timo Werner. Look at them goals. That's mad. That is mad. Interesting. What is this? Chelsea's director, Eugene Tenenbaum, and David Davidovich have been sanctioned. Is this taking the piss? No. Has been sanctioned by the British government. Where'd that come from? That was literally 16 minutes ago, people. Literally 16 minutes ago. Chelsea director Eugene, who we know is a part of the hierarchy at Chelsea, along with Mr. Bruce Buck and Marina Graverskaya, has been sanctioned by the government. And David Davovich as well is another one that's been sanctioned as well. So I don't know why. He's one of the directors at Chelsea. I'm going to see if there's any more on this as well quickly before we delve into things. So Martin Ziegler's obviously speaking about this. And he's come out and said that two of Abramovich's closest people, Chelsea director Eugene Tenenbaum and David Dovovich, have been sanctioned by the British government On the day of Russia's invasion, control of Abramovich's Chelsea-based management firm and his BVI-registered company Norma Investments passed to Davovich. So they've been sanctioned, assuming their links to Roman Abramovich. What is their importance? Again, lack of clarity. What's their importance in all of this is something else that we're going to want to know and read. But there you go. Some literal breaking news, which was below. I wasn't even meant to bring this up. I just seen it now. So Chelsea directors Eugene Tenenbaum and David Davovich have been sanctioned by the government. Two of Abramovich's closest people have been taken out. What sort of effect does that have on Chelsea Football Club? Well, you read it. This is control of Abramovich's Chelsea-based management firm and has a BVI-registered company, Norma Investments, passed to Davovich. So, from what I understand from that, the reason that these two individuals who are linked to us have been sanctioned is because the Norma Investments, which was under the control of Roman Abramovich, has been passed on to Davovich, and obviously Eugene, for so many reasons, is involved in this as well. And remember that the heavy sanctions against Roman Abramovich, any entities linked to Roman Abramovich, anything that he controls, has to be closed. So the fact that Roman's passed this on to them is probably why they've brought them two into sanctionings as well, because of movement of money, maybe in and out, behind closed doors, maybe something Roman Abramovich has been trying to do to try and to try and fund himself, should we say, fund himself through some of his entities or one of his entities. So that is interesting stuff, guys. That is interesting stuff. Big up to people in the chat. Declared, big up to you, Chloe. Nice to see you in the house. Top Bins, TJ Gay Gamer as well. Big up to you. Big up to the Blue Lounge as well. Nice to see you in the house. Guys, get them likes up. Over 40 of you here as well. We've only got 7 minutes in. Big up to everyone. Chelsea director, that's what I'm just reading now. Big up to Nick Blue as well. Yes, I have just UK government. Anyone at Chelsea Football Club, past or present, that has ever had eye contact with Roman Abramovich will also be sanctioned. More to follow. I love that. I saw that, Nick Blue. I've seen it. I'm not going to be bringing that up. I don't need to put that up. Yeah, how are you guys liking the thumbnail? That is a pretty neat thumbnail made by Ads himself as well. So make sure you smash the like button for that thumbnail as well, guys. Let's do that. Gary says Tenenbaum will be subject to an asset freeze as well as a transport sanctions, meaning that any ship or aircraft owned, chartered, controlled or operated by him can be detained if it enters Britain. And again, why? Because it's got to have some sort of control element linked to Roman Abramovich. So, it's very intellectual, very deep. There's a lot still happening. Big up to 6 times as well. Behind closed doors. The reason for being sanctioned is close to associations with Abramovich. Yeah. I knew that. That's what I said itself. There's an entity link with this common company here. Right here. On the date of Russia's invasion, control of Abramovich's Chelsea-based management firm and his BVI-registered company, Norma Investments, passed to Davovich. So if it was passed to Davovich via Abramovich around that period of time, that's still something that was under the control of Abramovich. In many ways, he could receive funds from and to. So bringing Davodovich and Eugene in the sanctionings for this period is to really limit any movement of money, any movement of any entity's money that are linked to Roman Abramovich, going anywhere. Again, look, makes sense to me, but that wasn't even what I was going to share because I only just got into it. Mourinho is set to be targeted. Yeah. Well, what would her thing be? What would they target her for? But they're going to do to her, man, for being blimmin' Abramovich's PA. I don't know, man. I find it all very weird. But there you go, guys. A little bit of breaking news there. We are going to delve into some of the other topics that I've got up as well. Big up to Chelsea Fan TV. Big up to Diego Goal Jar. Big up to you, my man. Big up to you. Big up to Ads and Jem. Big up to Chelsea Fan. Jota says the rest of... Not all of them. There's some other real good ones out there. But there you go. A bit of breaking news there for you. 2 of Roman Abramovich's directors of Chelsea have been sanction due to a certain entity being passed on to them prior to the invasion from Russia, which means that now David and Eugene, who are Chelsea directors, can now not, well, they're sanctioned, can now not do much at the moment themselves as well. How does that leave Chelsea Football Club is the question mark. What was their involvement in Chelsea Football Club's hierarchy? These are things that we all got to find out. Yeah, you're on a bounty, bruv. You got sanctioned. You got sanctioned. But anyway, let's get into the stuff that I wanted to delve into originally. Let me keep this open in the background as well, because things are flying in thick and fast as well. We're going to talk a little bit about transfer news. I've seen something about Tchouameni going to Real Madrid along with Kylian Mbappe. Apparently, Real Madrid have increased their hunger for the signing of him as well. We'll talk a little bit about that a bit later, because there were players that were potentially going to be linked to Chelsea Football Club. We're now going to move into the tabs that I've got above. The problem is I can't see them that well. There we go. So let's start with this one. Today, April 14th, comments right here from Chelsea Transfer. The club can now function comfortably until the end of the season. Hashtag Chelsea sources tell CBS Sports and expect to have full access to the forthcoming Premier League and Champions League prize money. All this allows for the sale to wrap up at a slightly slower pace than it started. So when we were was originally told that we weren't allowed to take prize monies, that the sanctions were, even though they were so heavy on Roman Abramovich, were also so heavy on the football club, is now not, from what we understand, not as true, and maybe why the whole process of the new ownership may take longer. We're hearing that the end of April, that there might be some sort of conclusion to this. We're now being told that it could go in as early as May in regards to owners or owners taking over our football club. So that confirmation there is pretty much summing up that Chelsea will have access to any prize money from the Champions League or the Premier League, which will help then aid and fund moving forward. So that's the first bit of stuff that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Why has my internet gone funny? Don't do this. Don't do this, internet. I see what you're doing. So there we go. That's the first bit. Second bit. Let's get into this. Sources linked. Oh, actually, was this one? Yeah, sources linked to bids by owners of American baseball team, one led by Tom and Laura Ricketts, and the other by Todd Boehly, and the consortium led by Sir Martin Broughton confirmed last night they have all raised their monies to buy Chelsea outright. So, as we can kind of understand, the deadline is today for all bids coming through. What they're all trying to do is basically outbid each other. Who can put down the most money? Who can show the finance power in their pocket, should we say, in regards to trying to sway the decision of the Chelsea hierarchy, which is something they're trying to do. Big up to Andre as well in the house. Dexter, Yuko is clutching at straws at doing everything they can do to deflect from their mess. Yeah, I hear that as well. I don't like using prize money to slow down completing this ownership transfer stuff. Need it wrapped up so we can make transfers and plans for next year. Well, this is the next thing. Where's it gone? There was something else I wanted to talk about, and it wasn't that, and it wasn't that. It wasn't that. It's very hard to prepare with so many tabs open. Trying to make sure I'm giving you guys like as much as I wanted to get into. There was something I read. Was it that? Was it that? Was it no? It was Chelsea transfer. So we know that the bids were going to be increased anyway. So that again ain't a real surprise in regards to the outbids. But the bids deadline day has closed today. In regards to more news, which we're going to delve into now, starting with the Chelsea transfer social page on Twitter. Where was I going to start? Was your question mark? Where was Jim going to start? So we hear this comment coming out saying that the Jersey court froze more than 7 billion of assets linked to Roman Abramovich, equivalent to half of the Russian billionaire's publicity estimated wealth. Now, I don't know how true this is, because when you think about Roman's movements outside of the UK, he's been linked to the Turkish football club in Göztepe, who apparently he's already agreed upon announcement pending something that can happen later on. But there's also being links to him maybe potentially buying Spanish football club Valencia as well. How true these comments are, I'm not fully sure. But then it doesn't fall in line with this comment, because the fact that they're saying that he's had nearly 7 billions of assets frozen, equivalent to half of the Russian billionaire's publicly estimated wealth. How the hell is he still walking around buying football clubs and doing everything that he's doing? It's just very, it's very uneasy, very confusing is the word I would say with that one as well. So, yeah, I don't know how true it is. This is why I say you take everything right by a pinch of salt and you don't take everything fully seriously from what you read. All four bidders trying to buy Chelsea will say that they will make a cash-only offer and not loaded debt on the. All the four bidders trying to buy Chelsea say that they will make cash-only offers and not load debt onto the football club. Now, when you think about the shortlisted owners, Stephen Pagluka, Sir Martin Broughton, Todd Boehly, and the Rickett family, part of the reasons potentially why these guys were shortlisted was because of the cash-only offers, I think. I think it was something that was probably decided by Rain Group when making the decision to shortlist these individuals, because we heard a lot about Saudi Media Group not making that list due to debts, due to the lending of money from different entities. The understanding of where the cash was coming from was a bit of an issue for Rain Group to take on. So the fact that that these four bidders are all cash only offers makes sense, that from our perspective. So it's probably clear money for Rain Group to understand where it's coming from. We know this anyway. We know that Todd Boehly and all that have all raised their monies. We spoke about that earlier. So then we read this. So the preferred bid is expected to be confirmed next week, and insiders suggest that the winning bid could be as much as 2.75 billion. The government must sign off on the sale so that Abramovich cannot profit from the proceeds. So the government does have an involvement, and this is something that still doesn't surprise me. Special licensing has to go through them. So at the end of the day, the fact that they're making the decisions, the fact that they're still not making a decision, but they're sort of making, they're sort of making, sorry, I'm just, because people are writing things to me on Twitter as well. Big up to Andreas for that comment as well. The fact that the government must sign off on the sale. The Abramovich cannot profit. Yeah, the fact that they're heavily involved near the end of the sale of this football club is because of the special licensing. Of course, they've got to make sure that the due diligence is there in terms of where the funds is being moved, how it's being moved. Checks have to be run. Make sure the cash is clean. And this is the other thing why I think Rain Group have probably shortlisted these individuals, because it kind of allows things to speed up in many ways. Court said that they are frozen. So yeah, I've literally read that as well, bro. I've literally just read that. So then we move on to Stephen Pagluka. We're going to talk a bit more about later in the show, who says bids for the Blues will match the other three competing offers in having a no debt. A source close to the Boston Celtics co-owners Consortiums confirmed yesterday. We're going to talk a bit more about that into more intellectually. Like I said to you, this show is going to be very heavy into the new partners that have joined the Consortiums as of the last minute as well. We're going to talk a little bit about that later as well. I don't want to go into things that I'm going to bring up in a bit. A source close to the situation said that Boehly would own. Yep, we're going to come back to that as well. And I'm just seeing if there's anything else that I wanted to really... here we go. Yeah, this is where I wanted to start from, wasn't it, Jem? Yeah. So CBS Sports understands the Premier League have been told to soft vet all listed directors for Chelsea to ensure a smooth process, the exact opposite of Newcastle United's 2021 Saudi league takeover, which dragged on for 18 months. So it's very weird all of a sudden how everything's got to be smooth, how everything's got to be done to a standard, how everything's got to this, that, and the other. But Newcastle's owners just, even though it took so long for them to come across, they probably had half the checks that we're having currently at the moment in regards to the ownership of our club, how they're making their money, where it's coming from. It's just very funny, isn't it? The UK government special licensing ends on the 31st of May and the transfer window opens on June the 10th. This is what I wanted to go on. If a sale isn't finalised by then and the license isn't extended or amended, Thomas Tuchel won't be able to bring any new players. Now, what's your thoughts on that comment, people? I'll read it again. UK government special license ends on the 31st. We know that. The transfer window opens on June the 10th. Cool. Earlier than I expected. I thought it was in August, but my bad. If a sale isn't finalised by then and the license isn't extended or amended, Thomas Tuchel won't be able to bring any new players. Now, I don't see us not having an owner before that period. I do think that maybe in the latest we will have that person, that individual, the one that's going to be taking over this football club. I don't think it will get to a point where we're sort of suffering, should we say, or the football club suffering for preparation plans moving into next season's leagues or competitions, who we say. Thomas Tuchel potentially not being able to do that. I don't think Chelsea Football Club will allow that to happen. And even if we do not, worst case scenario, have an owner, and I'm talking about the worst case scenario right now, so even if we do not have an owner in place, there will be, and I'm sure from Chelsea Football Club and the government, an understanding of making sure that the license is amended for a certain period to allow that owner to be agreed. So if that can be done, but at the same time, whilst that license has been amended, just say we haven't finalised the new owner, then I'm pretty sure that with all the prize money that's coming in from Champions League, God knows how much we're going to get from that, from getting to the quarterfinals, money from the Premier League, if we obviously continue to finish in third, which is still a hefty bit of money, and other advertisement monies, etc., that will come along with that, like they do at the beginning of many seasons, will allow us to move forward and maybe look at our targets. The issue we have with the licensing is that it's stopping us from negotiating. So if the license is to be extended after the May period, we would need to make sure that negotiations for Chelsea Football Club of new players coming in and dealings of contracts are allowed to happen. Now, before we get to the end of May, it will have to make sure as a club that we have an owner, relevant to if it's signed off or not, whether it's taking a bit longer than it needs to, providing the government can see, after organising the special licensing of this new owner, providing the government can see that there is someone who has been put forward as the main individual to take over Chelsea Football Club, then I don't see why this Thomas Tuchel thing, not being able to bring new players, Chelsea not being able to sort out contracts, Chelsea not being able to do this, that, and the other, will not be possible. Because the government are only tying us down under special licensing because, in theory, Roman Abramovich is still kind of what they call the owner of this football club, which means that if they open doors at Chelsea, whilst not having a confirmed owner, any money coming into the football club could potentially go to Roman Abramovich. Yeah, could potentially go to Roman Abramovich. And I get that. But like I said, I don't not see us not having a potential single owner or favoured owner no later than May. Some people are saying by next week. You know, it could be by the end of April that we have a confirmed owner, not only from the Chelsea hierarchy, but from Rain Group, because we hear that they're going to also be putting their choices forward in regards to who they think should go forward. We know who they're going to push, don't we? Let's not miss the Ricketts. But yeah, you know, I don't see Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea Football Club going into this summer, and I'd be shocked. I'm not going to lie, I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked to see that if we have an issue where deal's not finalised, we're still waiting for the two bidders to be, to be decided upon. The license gets extended, and within that license getting extended, it then stops the likes of people like Thomas Tuchel, Marina Graverskaya, the football club itself, from spending the money required to get what needs to be done. So, yeah, it's a weird one. But I said to you, it's going to be a very intellectual show today. So you're probably listening to me and thinking, no, you might have to watch it back after as well to probably understand what I'm saying as well. Because even sometimes myself, I don't hardly know what I'm saying. I'm just making it as clear as I can from my head to give it to you guys. I don't know how clear it sounds to you guys when I'm saying it, but there's over 100 of you people here, guys. make sure we smash that like button. Let's share this on our socials. Let's get these likes up as well, please. We've only got 36 likes and there's over 105 people. We should be on 50 likes now, man. Smash that like button for Chelsea Football Club. Do it now. Show your love to the football club by doing it. So, yeah, big up to all of you guys in the chat. Nathaniel, your sources. I'm not getting into that one. Big up to Jose CFC. Sosa, big up to you. Big Ron in the house as well. Nice to see you. Texas Blue. Nice to see you as well. Asal was never going to attract the best owners in terms of football. Was always going to be an investment for money men. Given the doubt that the debt-free asset Chelsea was going to be. Yeah, I don't feel that they can persuade us as fans that they're going to have any sort of an emotional relationship that Abramovich had to our football club. I don't think that's the case. I don't think they can force like that. You know, I think they're probably aware of that as well. Then we won't compete for the Premier. Yeah, and I understand that, Ridwan. Like, I don't expect us to compete if Thomas Tuchel isn't allowed to bring in what he can. But my point is very clear, and I've explained it to you guys already, just breaking it down, that I do feel we will have a preferred owner at that point, i.e. the one, shall we say, to take over this football club. It's just then onwards, how long does it take for the special licensing of the government to get sorted and for them to do all their due diligences and whatever else they've got to do to get this done? Yeah, and how quick can sign off of the new owner and the announcement of the new owner be held? And now, if the summer windows are on June the 10th, which is quite early, not going to lie, you know, I would think that the football club itself, the government, and everyone involved would want to try and push this before we start looking into going into next season, because we'll be up against it. And it won't be any benefit to the football club, us doing so, even with this prize money being allowed to come in, which we've been told. Champions League money, Premier League money, all of this money coming in will be now allowed to our football club. Big up to John CFC in the house, Noah in the house. The Ricketts will spend money, a stadium, and live off the profits. Boehly is what Fraser is saying as well. Declared says, I wouldn't the EPL process already start with the 4 bidders? Well, I don't think it would start with all 4 bidders. I think there would have to be a preferred bidder declared. I don't think it's as easy as starting the process with all 4. I think Rain and Chelsea would have to make a decision, hence why we're hearing it could be next week. So there we go, guys. There's a little bit in a talk on that. Is there anything else? We spoke about that. So just quickly on SMG. SMG tabled a competitive 3.5 billion bid, but were ruled out because there was no clear sense of where their funding came from. There was perhaps a secondary fear the owners and directors' tests might be problematic, and especially in the light of Newcastle's prolonged takeover. So I get that to a degree. Now, if SMG have bidded a very competitive amount of money, and it's a lot of money, but have not really cleared where the funding's come from, and Rain Group have not really been explained by SMG of how the funds are, how the funds are being put forward, if they're clean or not, then I fully understand why. I fully understand why they got kicked when you think about how all of the 4 bidders that are left are all supposedly clean money and buying a football club with clear money. Like there's that is it. It's been very detailed and broken down as of how their money's been put forward, where it's coming from, and what it's doing. SMG reportedly emphasized that no direct government links, but it was full Almira owner Turki Al Sheikh, a close advisor to the Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, backed their bid. Even at that point of rejection, he wasn't listed as a prospective director/investor. He wasn't listed as a prospective director/investor. So, I don't know how they've worked that out and flagged it in that sense. It's very, how they found out that he's even involved in it. If he's not involved with it as a director or an investor in the SMG bid, but they're linking the SMG funds to this guy in some way, then that makes sense. But it's just very all still, there's a lot of uncertainty in what they're saying. Now, I've seen this with too many being pushed forward from regard, according to AS as well, that apparently that they're moving fluid, etc., etc., etc. I'm not going to get into that yet. I'm going to stay on topic. But like I said to you guys, What we do know, and we'll go to it, is that two of Roman Abramovich's closest people, Chelsea director Eugene Tenenbaum and David Dovovich, have been sanctioned by the British government via Martin Ziegler as well. Tenenbaum will be a subject to an asset freeze as well as a transport sanctions, meaning that any ship or aircraft owned, chartered, controlled, or operated by him could be detained if it enters Britain. The reason for being sanctioned is close to association with Abramovich, and the entity that was supposedly passed on from Mr. Abramovich to Tenenbaum before Russia invaded. This is what they're saying. Before Russia had proceeded to invade Ukraine, is why they have sanctioned him, because they like I said, they want to tighten the loose. They want to tighten the caps. They want to make sure that there's no holes, gaps to be filled, or there's no money being forced through to Roman Abramovich behind closed doors. So, if it's true, we just got to take it on the chin. If Roman Abramovich has passed over an entity that he controlled to one of the Chelsea directors and the government's clocked it, then fair enough. Fair enough. It is what it is what it is, as they say. It is what it is. We are going to open up the lines, obviously, soon as well. We've still got to go through each individual owners, a couple of newses on them as well. So make sure we stay tuned on this as well. Let's see if there's anything else on Chelsea transfer. So let's read this. Since the sale process has effectively been treated like tender, each bid has been tasked with addressing specific areas in their business plan, covering both long-term and short-term strategies. Chelsea chairman Bruce Buck has played an active role in defining the criteria. So apparently, all of a sudden, Bruce Buck is an angel, guys. Bruce Buck is an angel. Because apparently, he's now showing that he cares about this football club. Because he's asking for the short-term strategy and the long-term strategy, which I'd expect any Chelsea hierarchy to do anyway. The difference is, is his favouritism going to fall through it? Because we've seen him with the Ricketts linking him to Paul Canaville organising meetings. Can we trust the likes of people like Bruce Buck to make the right decision for our football club? I'm not too sure, man. I'm genuinely not too sure. As Rain Group qualified to make such judgments on these calls, they are only a bank with no idea who would be much there. I think they will pass. I don't think they'll make the decision, but I think they will advise who they think should. And that will then be down to the Chelsea hierarchy to make the decisions as well. With 310 billion, there is very good news. If Ghana are eventually involved, we could be one of the richest. I've seen this. Yeah, I have seen this. We're going to talk about Todd Boehly's consortium very soon as well. Jim, what do you think of? We're going to talk about that as well. Don't worry, I've got all that. We've got all of that to go through. It's actually 60 billion of investment, so as well. We're going to get into that next. Don't worry. And then we're going to open up the lines. But I just want to bring you guys fully up to date with everything I know. The government have announced UK has today sanctioned blah, 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 blah. Action against Roman Abramovich alongside of freeze assets up to 10 billion. Assets estimated to be worth up to 10 billion, the largest asset freeze action in the UK history. So they've sanctioned David and Eugene, who are Chelsea directors, of up to 10 billion worth of assets. Wow. The government is coming in hard, man. Government is coming in thick and hard on us at the moment, not going to lie. So there's your little breaking news there, guys, in regards to that. And that just happened not long ago, not going to lie, not long ago. Now, I want to jump over from one social profile to another, Absolute Chelsea. I'm just going to go through some of the comments that we've seen from other journalists, i.e. Nizar Kinsella, etc., etc. So we'll start with Stephen Pagluka, because we've been told that he has his bid made up or includes John Terry's True Blues Consortium. Now, another tick in the box in trying to get one of the biggest players of Chelsea's history on side. Now, quite interesting. He's talking about giving them a certain share if he is to win. The supporters a certain share. I think it was around 10% of the total entity of the football club as well. John Terry's True Blues Group is trying to get in there as well, which is interesting stuff, really. It's interesting stuff. How far he'll get into it, we'll see. But more on Stephen Pagluka, because there was a statement released on him, which Athletic reported via Liam Towney as well, which says Mr. Pagluka and Mr. Tannenbaum are joined by other leaders in business, media and technology, including former Disney CEO Bob Iger and renowned journalist Willow Bay. Facebook co-founder Eduardo Saverin, and businesswoman Elaine Saverin, B Capital co-founders Raj Ganguly, co-owners of how many are here? Co-owner of Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Dodgers, and Los Angeles Football Club, Peter Guber, global venture capitalist Jim Breyer of Breyer Capital Investment, John Breyer. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10 different partners in this one. There's about 10 different fucking partners in here. That's mad. That is very, very mad. And to just talk about Larry, because a lot of people don't know who Larry Tannenbaum was. I don't even know who Larry Tannenbaum was. And I went onto Wikipedia, because Wikipedia is a very easy way to find out who these guys are. Now, we know that he's a Canadian businessman, is what we're being told. Now, what is his links? Yeah, what is his links? Because when you read about the guy, he's a Canadian businessman and chairman of Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment, which is a professional sports and commercial real estate company based in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, with assets that include franchises in 4 of the 6 major professional sports leagues in the United States of Canada. So the guy's got dough. He owns 25% of the stake in the MLSE through his holding company. His holding company being Kilmer Sports as well. Now, he does have quite a big net worth as well. I read his net worth in actually earlier. It was good to just know his net worth. So, in terms of his net worth, at the moment, he has a net worth of about approximately, I don't know how true this is, of just under 2 billion. So, not massive, but it seems like all of his assets or entities that he is linked with is probably treble the amount of what his net worth is anyway. So maybe, and why I think consortiums look to throw themselves on is not just about them and what they're valued at. It's about the entities that they have linked to them and the amount of money made through them entities. You know, I think from Stephen Pagluka with his combined consortiums, there was nearly about 300 billion pounds worth of combined entities involved in the partnership, which is a lot of money. So, you know, that is who Larry is, from what we understand. I'm not going to go through his early life or his business activities. He's been linked. He's the chief executive of Kilmer Van Nostrand Limited, who I don't know who that is, to be honest. But from what I understand, it's a massive billionaires company. But yeah, you know, let's go back to where I was originally, which was absolute Chelsea. So we read about that. He's obviously announced who his consortium involves, and it's about 7 or 8 names. Does that really help with the fact that there's so many people involved? No, I don't like the idea of having so many individuals in it. Obviously, the project would have been sold to them. What happens when one of them falls out of line? What happens if one of them moves on? What happens if 3 of them go and you're like, this is the thing with consortiums. Like, it's very, like, I think there's a right number for them, if that makes sense. Like, having too many involved just doesn't appeal to me. And I don't want the rickets, don't get me wrong. But reading Stephen Pagluka's plans, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not fully sold on it. Let's move on to more news, because we're now going to move on to the Ricketts family. So the Ricketts family have now decided to include Lord Blimoria to their family investment consortium for the bid of Chelsea Football Club. A founded Cobra Beer just down the road from Stamford Bridge I founded Cobra Beer just down the road from Stamford Bridge and have been a season ticket holder for many years. Again, the Ricketts family are trying to, probably don't give a shit about this guy. Let's be serious. They're again trying to use people close to the football club that they probably assume is going to make the Chelsea fans go, yay! Another guy who supports Chelsea. There's a billionaire. He owns Cobra Beer. I've had a Cobra Beer in the Indians. When I go to have Indian food, they always give me a Cobra Beer. He's the founder guy. Lord Bloomer says part of the Ricketts family group bid to buy Chelsea. So when the Tom Ricketts approached me to discuss a leading role in his bid group, there was no way I could refuse. Now, who the hell is Lord Bill Maria? Well, Lord Bill Maria is actually here. Where is he? Let's get him up. No, that's the wrong one, Jim. Where's he gone? I've got so many tabs up open, man. It's long. This is so long. Here we go. Here we go. The Lord, here he is. Is this guy over here? There he is. There he is, people. Lord Bill Maria, CBE, whatever he is. So, this guy, basically, is a British Indian entrepreneur. Well, it makes sense. When I said I go to Indian restaurants and have Cobra beer, he's a British Indian entrepreneur. He is now at the UK's House of Lords. Obviously, the fact that he's a Sir. Bill Maria founded the global beer brand Cobra Beer and currently operates as the company's chairman. In addition to his business activities, Bill Maria is a politically active crossbench member of the House of Lords, currently serves as Chancellor of University of Birmingham and is the president of Confederations of British Industry. Now, think about it again. Why the hell would the Ricketts bring on this guy? Not only for what's in his back pocket, but I am telling you, the reason that they brought on this guy is his image. Is 100% his image. Easily. Because not only does he own Cobra Beer, which I don't really think they give two fucks about, let's be serious. I think they're looking at the fact that he's in the House of Lords, that he's a Chancellor at the University of Birmingham. He's also involved in the presidents of the Confederations of the British Industry, CBI, which is a UK businessman organisation which in total claims to speak for 190,000 businesses. This is made up of around 1,500 direct members. So, you know, I'm not going to read into that, but, you know, some sort of confederations. He has direct involvements in politics in this country. So when you're trying to win Chelsea, win the government, win Rain, probably Rain Group and that have probably advised them to strengthen their consortium partnership anyway, or their family's investment in the company by throwing in this name. And again, this name has been thrown in as an image. It's an image of a partner who supports Chelsea Football Club, long-term season ticket holder. Cool. I get that. So he has the emotional attachment. But it is the fact from the Ricketts purpose, just to win this bid, that they bring on someone that is involved heavily in politics, which will work with the government and probably signing them off. That's the way I see it. Why else would they get this guy involved? You know, why else would they? They've got so much money. They've got King Griffin. You know, all right, they might not be worth tons, but they've got King Griffin, you know, who's on 20, 30 million. They've also got that other guy. I can't even remember his name, who's worth nearly 20 odd billion in himself. So this thing of bringing this guy on, even though he's excited about it, the Loughborough parts of the Ricketts family investment group says, so when Tom Ricketts approached me to discuss a leading role in this bid, there was no way I could refuse. They're using this guy as an image, not for his funds, just to try and push the image of themselves for us to go, yeah, emotional attachment. Emotional attachment from Lord Bill Maria, who has a season ticket at Chelsea, owns Cobra Beers, and is involved heavily in politics in Britain. That's the way I see it. Might sound like I'm being a dickhead, but I'm telling you now, they don't give two fucks, these Ricketts family. They're just doing everything they can to win. And once they've won, they're just going to throw us in the mud. They're genuinely just going to throw us in the mud. Guys, let's get this over 100 likes. There's over 180 of you here. Let's get them likes up. I am going to open up the lines very shortly as well. Nearly to the end of where I wanted to go with this. But there we go. So we spoke about Stephen Pagliuca and the involvement of that new guy partner. What's his name? I forgot his new name. Larry Tannenbaum, who has joined them, who has joined him, shall we say, and the other partners of Pagliuca's consortium, which is another 6, 7, 8, 9 names. The Ricketts family, or the investment groups of the Ricketts family, have invited Lord Bill Maria as a part of their investment group, more of the image. Ken Griffin, and there's another individual, can't remember his name, who we know are the ones that are carrying the funding really for the Ricketts family, or what make up the Ricketts family investment group's consortium. All right. That's what we know from now. Now, from that, we move on. Yeah, I don't care if the scouts are impressed of Reece James. Reece James is going nowhere. He's not for sale. Don't even try it, Real Madrid scouts. Yeah? Don't even try it. Now, sorry if I've not been going through the chat. I am sorry. I've just got so much. I'm trying to read through everything here before I go to it. Big up to Goam in the house as well. Nice to see him. Fraser, nice to see you, bro. Abdi, big up to you. John, who else is here? Pedro. Yeah, big up to all of you. Lord Bilbo. Bilbo Baggins. Bilbo Baggins out of Lord of the Rings, man. All right, let's move on, shall we? Let's move on because we've still got to get to Todd Boehly's consortium, which is the favoured consortium, shall we say, very soon. So, Larry Tannenbaum on Chelsea's bid. Steve Pagliuca and I are committed to supporting a championship-winning team, building a state-of-the-art stadium at Stamford Bridge, investing in our own academy women's teams, and making a real difference in the community. Now, everything that you've said there, I am pretty sure if you took Tom Ricketts and Todd Boehly and you put them in front of a microphone, they are going to say the exact same words. Stadium, investment, academy, this, that, and the other. And this is why I think it's so important that in what Chelsea did, or our Rain Group have also asked from the bidders, which is, it's all good talking, but we want a commitment or a guarantee from either bidders or all bidders, whoever wins taking over Chelsea, that they are going to invest heavily into this football club. And that 1 billion, which they've asked them to lay out in a plan, is going to be a big part of who gets picked to win this, to win the takeover of Chelsea Football Club. And I think it's the right thing to do because, you know, it's easy for everyone to just talk a game, a good game, this, that, and the other. And I think, look, if it's going to take longer, but to get these answers, but fully get guarantees for a 1 billion investment into the club, which will keep Chelsea hopefully elite, which will allow us to build a stadium, which will allow us to continue to buy players. All right, we might even need more than 1 billion. But if they're going to, you know, if they're going to keep us at the highest order, then we need these guarantees from whoever takes over. And whether it's Todd Boehly, who we all possibly want, Broughton, God name, I don't want to even say the name, but the Ricketts, Pagliuca, they have to have guarantees against these guys. We need to see the guarantees. End of. That's the way I see it. Big up to Carefree FC, Jem. We need more of you. You're reading wiki entries. I'm not very big up to Jester, man. Big up. We need more of you reading wiki entries. Do you know what I mean? Nah, I just take the piss out of it, don't I? Big up to you. We are going to open up the line soon as well. Just going to get to Todd Boehly's consortium. Jim, are you 100% about the law? Tory supporter, it's fast. Chelsea till we die. Big up to Dread in the house as well. Tory supporter, is he? Anyway, I don't want to get into politics. I can't be asked. Looks the best option as the best of today. Why? Because if you look at Pagliuca, he has about 7 or 8 partners, bro. What happens when some of these partners, even though they're on side at the moment, decide to pull away? Or something happens to 1 or 2 of them? Then what? I'd rather have a smaller consortium with the right funders, with the right mind frame, with the right whatever in place, all on the same wavelength, than have 8 or 9 different blimmin' partners, which is what Steve Pagliuca is at the moment. Bitchinson and Tim's out there on my big up to go, man. Big up to go, right? We're nearly there. We're nearly there. But I did tell you guys this is going to be a proper intellectual talk on today, mainly on the updates of what we know up to now, and where we're at with things. We're going to do more of these shows. Pies will be joining me probably next week. I did speak to him today. Will be joining me next week to go through that as well. We spoke about this. This is the one I want to talk about. Now, we are going to talk about, before we open up the lines, we're going to talk about Todd Boehly, the favourite, shall we say, for many of the Chelsea fans to take over the football club. What are they made up of? What are they about? What is it that we need to know about Todd Boehly's consortium? Well, here we go. Because today's news came out that Clearlake Capital would own at least 50% of Chelsea's shares under a bid proposal to be submitted by Todd Boehly, who would own a small minority stake, along with a co-investors Mark Walter and Hans-Georg Wyss, but Boehly would have the operational control. Now, when people read this and said they're not too sure, I looked at it and I thought it makes sense, because we know Todd Boehly's net worth is well not enough to be the main majority shareholder of the football club. Because let's be serious, he just on his own, he's not able to afford it. Hans-Georg Wyss is probably in around the same net worth as him as well. And then you look at Mark Walters, who he's bought on from the Dodgers as well. He has a sizable net worth, but he also has an entity that he has separately from the Dodgers that is worth something stupid. I think Matt brought it up in the chat earlier of like 300 billion, which he could potentially at a later stage bring on into this consortium. And that kind of money under Mark Walters, because of Mark Walters being on here, he's the co-owner of this company as well, to throw into the mix with this would really allow us to have the funds required to go on for many, many years. Many, many, many years, shall we say. So this panic of Clear Lake Capital, who are they, what are they about? Well, we can have a quick look at this, because who are who are these lot? Who are Clear Lake Capital? Well, I can tell you quickly before we get into that Clear Lake Capital are a private investment firm group that were founded in 2006. They are an investment firm operating in integrated businesses across private equities, credits, and other related strategies. So they just sit there and they help investors invest, basically, if that makes sense in many ways. So when you read about Clear Lake Capital Group, who we spoke about just now, is an investment firm operating integrated businesses across private equity and credit and other related strategies. With a sector focused in, firm seeks to partner with experienced management teams by providing patient, long-term capital to dynamic businesses that can benefit from Clear Lake's operational improvement approach. So they must have some sort of system or way of helping investors or entities grow in business, grow in size, etc., etc., etc. Now, when I read into this Clear Lake Capital themselves and the asset value of Clear Lake, they were coming out at around 60 billion. So they're around, the Clear Lake Capital Group is worth around 60 billion in itself. Them taking over the majority of the shares of Chelsea would make sense when you think about how much they're funded by. And the thing that we need to understand is that, and this is what's so wicked when you look at all the different consortiums that are involved, is that you either have Todd Boehly, who, when you look at the net worths of the consortiums that are involved, are not very heavy, but the entities that are involved are very heavy in terms of asset values and the value of money involved in the entity itself, what it's worth, 300 billion. And then you have the likes of Steve Pagliuca, who has money, owns part sport companies, as we know, of other entities and whatever, and has brought on 8 or 9 different partners directly to build up maybe the value of that consortium. Not to say that they're not going to bring in other entities like Clear Lake with what they own, because they do own different entities that are probably worth hundreds of billions of pounds. But it's like Steve Pagliuca's just added 7 or 8 different partners to fund the club, and maybe splitting it across, if there's 8 of them, maybe splitting the shares across them evenly. As with the way that Todd Boehly set up, under his consortium, they won't own, the major shares of it. Mark Walters, him, and Hans-Georg Wyss. There's only 3 of them. So they do need that bigger entity to take over the majority of the football club, or be noted as the majority of the football club. So for me, it does make sense. It's hard it's really technical. And even for myself, like I said, I don't fully understand it myself, but trying to explain it to you guys, which I'm trying to do my best, is what I'm trying to do. But yeah, there you go. Clear Lake Capital would own 50% of the shares under the bid proposal submitted by Todd Boehly. So 50% of all of the investment or majority of the investment that goes through Chelsea Football Club will probably come through Clear Lake Capital, who we know are valued around 60 billion plus, which is a lot anyway. And that's without obviously the notes of Todd Boehly, Handros Fitz, and Mark Waters. And that's forgetting that Mark Waters not bringing in. Let me just have a quick look, because Matty said it in the chat earlier, actually. Trying to find these lot. That's if Mark Waters doesn't bring on this, which is the CEO of Gunning Partners, with an assets of 310 billion. This is very good news. If Gunning are eventually involved, we could be one of the richest and most well-run clubs. So you're talking about money close to the Newcastle owners, which is in the 300 plus billions. That's how much money they have. So if he decides to bring them on, along with Clear Lake, along with Todd Boehly, Handros Fitz, then you're talking close to nearly 400 billion. 400 billions in total value owned in regards to Chelsea Football Club, which is serious money. So I can get and understand why Todd Boehly could be potentially one of the favourites. One of the favourites, and why we should look at him as being maybe one of the best individuals to take over, because there's a lot of money that can be pumped in at a later stage. Now, Todd Boehly's involvement in all of this is he is still the operational manager, the controller of it all. So even though Clear Lake Capital are pumping the money, it is down to Todd Boehly and maybe Mark Waters, because of their relationship back at the Dodgers, to use the project or the system that they're going to put into place to then sort of push forward in making or doing what they're going to do with Chelsea, not for just the short term, but in the long term projects. So the stadium, the development centres, the women's squad, the main squad, the youth squad. There's going to be a lot in that needs to be done. And he will be the leader of that, Todd Boehly. He will be the one at the front making the main decisions. Yes, no. If we wanted to buy Shumeni in the summer, and Todd Boehly Todd Boehly's consortium is the leaders, I am pretty sure Todd Boehly is the main guy that's going to say yes or no. I think the funds will sit. I think Clear Lake Capital, Mark Waters, and that will have an involvement to a degree in terms of the money aspects. Mark Waters may be a bit more with him because of their relationships at the Dodgers, but Todd Boehly will be the face of the consortium, giving the nods, giving the go-aheads, giving the no's and yeses. And I don't mind that, because he sounds like someone that is very hungry and very interested in this in football itself and wants to succeed. And he has wanted Chelsea for a while, from what I've understood. 7-8 years he's been looking at taking over a football club. So if he's got an idea and image of what he wants to do, he's talking about using data, not just spending willy-nilly, using data, and probably talking close with managers and whatever. If they're going to go down a different route in trying to strengthen and make Chelsea the elite team that they have been under Roman Abramovich, then it makes sense why we would want Todd Boehly to take over this football club. Big up to Chelsea Fan TV as well. Gav, man, nice to see you, my man. I don't know. I honestly, I have no clue why Vice is actually involved. It makes no sense. Dude, it's not how much they have, but how much they are willing to spend. And that's true as well. That is true. But this is why I go back to what I said. Being asked to guarantee at least 1 billion into this football club, which is apparently what Rain Group and the Chelsea Football Club have asked for all shortlisted bidders to put forward, is crucial. And that's why guarantees have to be set in place. We need to make sure that not only in the short term, because I think they will spend. I think if you're any owner coming into this football club, you're gonna spend money. Because why? Think about it. It's common sense. You spend money, you win fans over. You say the right things. You sell the right players. You bring in the right players. You back the manager. You keep the manager happy. They're going to do all that short term, and I think that even the Ricketts would do that. Any of them will do that. It's common sense. For me, that's not the issue. For me, it's like you're saying, they're willing to spend in the long-term run, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years down the line. Are they still going to have the same hunger? Are they still going to want to keep us at the top level? Or are they going to franchise us? Are they just going to sit back? Are they going to allow us to just fall and become a new Man United? Glaziers. for example. You know, that is the big question of it all. So yeah, you've heard a bit about Todd Boehly. You've heard a bit about the Ricketts family, who they've brought on, and my thoughts on the Cobra beer owner. We've gone through Stephen Pagliuca and his new initial partner that he's added on, who he's about, what he's from, the companies he owns, and the other partners. The only one that I can't really share with you guys is Sir Martin Brown, because even though he's increased his bids, there is no talks about his consortium or their plans or what they're trying to do. Or, you know, like we've gone through Todd Boehly's. We know what their idea is and who's involved and whatever. We know who's involved in the Ricketts family. We know who Steve Pagliuca's consortium is because he's kind of announced it, who's involved in it. But in terms of Sir Martin Brown, even though they've matched the funds, apparently they've increased their bids, so they are still there getting involved. I don't really know what their plans are, what their ideas are, what they're looking to do, who's involved. Is there a new bidder that's joining them? They've got new partners, have they not? I've not found out anything, you know, and maybe that will come out a bit later in the weeks coming. Like I said to you, Pies will be joining me next week as well. But there you go. That is where we are in terms of updated news. We know that the deadline is today on bids. The bids have all gone in. It's now down to them to confirm to Rain Group and Chelsea how they're going to spend that 1 billion, you know, into the club, or you know, there has to be a certainty to spend the 1 billion in the club, and what their plans are in the long term. There will be some PR involved with the fans, I think, eventually, maybe not, or PR towards the Chelsea, to the hierarchy of Chelsea. That's still to come. You know, there will be supporters trusts, I think, going to meetings to hear the overall ideas, like the final meetings, basically the final interview, should we say? The final interviews being put forward. So there's a lot still to happen, but that's where we are up today. And I hope you guys have enjoyed, or at least I say enjoyed, but you know, are up to speed with where I stand with it and what I feel about it. So Martin Brown should be the faves. It's the only group with EPL experience with being a chairman for Liverpool and people that had shares in Palace. But why are they favourites? Because, all right, they've got Premier League experience, but how do you know how they're going to spend money? How do you know their ideas for the 8 to 10 years going forward? Like, we don't know any of this. Yeah, Nick Candy's disappeared like that Kim woman. They've done runners. They've done runners. All that PR that they did. Now, let's quickly just talk about players quickly, because even though we haven't got an owner, even though Tuchel may not be able to spend money if we don't sort this out before the 31st of May, which is when the special licensing finishes, there are still talks about Chelsea looking to bring in certain individual players. Jules Koundé, Declan Rice and Tchouameni have remained on Chelsea's agenda. There was some reports coming out earlier that Tchouameni is in talks with Real Madrid and is moving quite fast with that. How true it is, it's through AS. I don't really trust AS, to be honest, as a legit firm as well. So a little bit of news in terms of the final. Should Chelsea beat Crystal Palace on Sunday to reach the FA Cup final, the away trip to Manchester United will take place on Thursday the 28th, obviously rescheduling because they've got to fit the final in, which makes sense. So yeah, that game between Man United away will be on a Thursday night, the 28th of April, if Chelsea are to beat Crystal Palace, which we're going to be doing a preview Sunday lunchtime, 12 o'clock. So make sure you hit that bell notification. See that little bell below me right now, below me, next to the thumb. And then, by the way, if you've not hit the thumb now, because we should be well over 100 likes. We've got 85 likes. I'm sure you guys can get this over 100 now while I'm staring at it. Before we get the panel in, before we start talking to the panel about everything that I spoke about, everything that I've just gone through for you guys as well. Let's all hit the like button now. Hit the bell notification as well. Let's get this up to 5.1k subscribers as well. We're about 30 away from that. I'm sure there's many new people here that are tuned into GNA TV. We are a growing channel. We're getting bigger and bigger, you know, and, you know, big up to everyone that's been here since day dot and are here now. Big up to everyone that supports the channel as well. I have been trying to get the members option for you guys, but YouTube have told me that they won't give it to me. It's the Chelsea agenda, but to Gem. It's the GNA TV agenda. YouTube are giving members to every other platform but me. And when I asked them to give me the members option so I could share you guys to become members of the channel, they told me that, am I eligible? I told them that we're eligible. We've cleared the views we need. We've got the subscribers we need. We've cleared all of the categories we need to get the members option. But they're telling me that I've got to wait. That they will one day to switch the button and that members option will be there. They won't give it to me. So I am probably the only Chelsea YouTuber on YouTube that doesn't get the option to give you guys the members option, which is just bullshit. And I'm annoyed about it, to be honest, because I wanted to give these guys to you. It's literally the GNA TV agenda. I said it to the guy. I was writing in the chat. I was like, asked him, I said, well, why can't you just do it? And he's like, oh, well, you know, it's not as easy as that. One day you're going to just wake up and when you go into your studio, it will just be a flick of the button and you will just see a pro. I went, people have already got it and they've got less viewers, subscribers than me. I'm nearly on 6K, you know, I'm just got over 5K subscribers. Like, I'm well past it. I only needed to have 1,000 subscribers to have members options. Why is it I'm 5,000? I still can't have members. It's the agenda against me. And then he just told me, no, don't worry about it. It's a Chelsea thing, man. It's a Chelsea thing. They're against us, man. They're against us. Pick up everyone in the chat. What happened to Muslim Bayrak? Oh, God. I don't even want to talk about my Turkish mate. All right, we're 2 away from 100 likes, guys. Come on, get this over 100. The link is going in the chat. Over 180 of you guys here. YouTube Barago, man. They always try and do me over, man. They're not allowing man to grow like these other guys out there. You know? This is not fair. Free gem. It is literally hashtag free GNA. Free GNA TV, man, is what I'm saying. Free GNA TV. 101 likes. Big up to everyone. Let's get the panel in. Let's see what they've got to say. Let's see what they've got to say of everything that I spoke about. We spoke about Steve Pagluka and his consortiums that are involved, 7 or 8. Spoke about Todd Boehly's consortium and the Clear Capital being 50% shareholder of that consortium as well, and what that means moving forward. We spoke about the Ricketts family inviting, what's his name? Inviting, can't even remember his name, the Cobra beer owner as a part of their family's trust as an image at the front because he's a Chelsea owner and he's also a Lord, getting him involved as well. Yeah, no, it's yeah, man, it's loads. It's been an intellectual show. My head's banging. It's now allowed the boys to come in like Callie and Nick. And if that is you again, Nathaniel, you are going to get another show back.
It's Nolan, man.
Who's this?
Noah, man. My name's Noah, man. Yeah, it's me, Noah, in the chat.
Oh, Noah, big up to you, mate. Noah, what you say? I'm so used to Nathaniel coming in with different names, mate. It's ridiculous. I thought it might have been Nathaniel. You know what I mean? Trying to do one again.
Big up, Noah.
Big up, Noah. How you been, Noah, man? I haven't spoke to you in a while.
I'm good, man. Yeah, man. Life's good, man. And I was just going to say, see you on Derby Day, man. Do you know what I mean? On Wednesday.
Yeah. Looking forward to it, mate. Looking forward to it.
That's what I was just going to say.
Go on. Is there anything you want to say about Chelsea?
Like it's peak for you guys, isn't it? This is the most the fans need it. So yeah, in this tough period, that's the most you guys need the club, innit? Do you know what I mean? Fans need it. So
yeah, man, we're literally the.
That's what I have to say, man. And big up Nick and big up Jem. Got dip, man.
Yeah, see you later, bro. Thank you for being man. As well. Noah's a big supporter of the channel.
Yeah, got to do my uni work, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No worries, man. Take care.
Big up,
all right, big up to him. Let's talk to Nick Blue because I haven't seen Nick Blue in a while. What are you saying, Nick Blue? What's happening?
Yeah. Hi, chaps. Jem. Yeah, I've been around. You know, just as personal things I haven't been on.
Yeah, no problem.
Nothing, you know, against the channel, of course. You know.
Are you well though? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm all right.
Okay.
I've been going through the last few games, and I'm going on Sunday again. I managed to get tickets for my grandson and my son, and so we're all going there. Well, this business, you know, the owners, we're going to know more end of the week, I think. Who, you know, what the extra what the final bits are. You know, they're going to put something, not just money. It's not about money only. It's about what they're going to do and what they promise to do. Are they going to really do it? You know, like Robin will be looking at all this. The Chelsea board will be looking at it, and I don't. I'm not scared of the Ricketts anymore. I don't think they have a chance in hell, even if we don't protest again, because you know, I don't think Roman will do that. Roman wants the best for Chelsea. We know his family; they all Chelsea fans, and I trust Roman to pick. I think it'd be out of Martin Broughton and Todd Boehly. And Paluca is a dark horse for me because don't forget he's got John Terry, the Blue Group.
Yeah.
With the Blue Group, they're with him at the moment, but they could easily go with someone else. We don't know, but you know that's another thing. Why is John Terry with Paluca? There might be a reason. Maybe he knows something. You know, that's why I'm not sure, but he could know something we don't know. You know, because he's at the club and he's with them. So that, you know, he could. I don't mind if it's really. I prefer Bolton or Boehly. Bolton, you know, Premier League experience. He was a chairman at Liverpool. That doesn't. You know, he's a Chelsea fan. That's a big thing. Todd Boehly, I like, you know, what he's saying. Plus, he was at that game in at Brentford. The Brentford people there. Yeah, with Marina and everyone watching the game. That's another thing, you know. We don't know really, but I'm sure Roman is going to choose correctly. He has to leave the club in some stupid hands like the Ricketts. I can't see it. And if we get a sense that it's going that way, I'm sure there'll be a bigger protest as well. If we think they're going to actually win, because we're going to hear a lot more in the end of the week and then next week. That's why the supporter groups already met with everyone, and Chelsea supporter Chelsea Trust, you know, still 77% against Rick. And you know, I'm a member with them, and they're telling me, you know, they were pretty sure it ain't gonna happen with them. But if there's a slight sniff, you could, we're gonna turn out in thousands. I promise you. That's what I've been hearing. And yeah.
No, sorry, I can't do that. I'm just a nice guy. If I put if I put the game on, they'll copyright me. I'd love to, so you can watch it, but I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do it, mate. I can't do it.
I'll send you a nice video of Mason Mount. Did you see
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it the other day, actually. Yeah.
That is beautiful. Send it to Johnny if you can.
I will do. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So that's what I think. It's very tight. It's very tight with Boehly and Broughton. It's like, I think it's out of them two, but Paluca is a dark horse because of John Terry. So let's see what happens.
Fair enough. Kelly, how you doing, man? I don't know if you've been listening to me all the way through, but it's quite an intellectual show. I try my best, you know.
Nah, it wasn't too bad, man. Couple holes, but you know, we're not Inspector Gadget here. I would just say that pretty much what Nick Blue said was spot on as far as like the two contenders. I think it is between Brogdon and Boehly. I was talking to Declare the other day, and that's why I was asking about Brogdon, because he was the bidder I had heard the least about. Next to, I'm not gonna slander the guy with the P last name. That would just be rude, but it's just a weird name. You know what I mean? How do you say that name?
What, Stephen Pagluca?
Yeah, that guy. No matter how many times you say his name, I will never be able to replicate.
I'll just say it how I think it is, to be honest. I don't really.
But yeah, so to me, he's not in it. Honestly,
What?
if it was based solely on cash output, the Ricketts would be the front runners. But I think because of the disdain coming from the club, the Ricketts aren't in it. So yeah, it's between Boehly and Brogdon. It's just like I don't know, man. For me, there should be two minimums that come from either owner, regardless. If I don't like anybody, I don't care. I need them to either commit to the redevelopment or the remodeling of Stamford Bridge. That's up, up to the how they're gonna work it out with the pitch owners, the space. I know it's a huge issue based on where it's located and all these things, but it has to be done in order to sustain the investment that these investors clearly want back in their bids. And then the other thing for me is the backing of the manager. Like, as far as I'm concerned, two players minimum have to come in the summer. And that's not me being delusional or just saying, oh, just spend money willy nilly. I would rather never see Declan Rice at 150 mil as the marquee signing, and if somehow we're still in it, get Mendy along with Kunde, then just get Declan Rice and not receive any other signing. Because too long has Chelsea, the model, because we've been able to sustain it, has been, oh, get a marquee signing in, and then if that marquee signing doesn't work, we'll just get another one in. And now that's not going to be as doable in the short term. In the short term, it's going to have to be smart investments into a batch of players. We now have Gallagher. We now have Burrow. Start being our depth. And I think they can be the depth. It's a long time that Chelsea start relying on their academy itself, because our academy has produced gems, as you see in our current squad right now. So as long as the owners are minimally going to back TT and redevelopment of the stadium, I have to support them. Obviously, I want to remain competitive. I want to remain the Chelsea that has been happening as of late of the last 2 decades. But it's just like it's honestly up to the owners. We can be turned into Arsenal. Like this is like a very huge pivotal point in Chelsea's history. So I just hope that the Rain Group, Roman, the government, whoever's colluding, just make a good decision for Chelsea. Like, keep your politics out of the football. That's all I ask.
Yeah, I agree massively. Declared, how you doing? Declared. Declared's not there. Hassan, what are you saying?
Nothing much, Jim. Same old. But with this whole what's it called, owner situation, yeah, I just needed to get done ASAP. And as long as it's not the Ricketts, I think we'll all be happy. But it's most likely between Todd and I don't know who the other guy is, but I think Todd will most likely win it. And apparently, what's it called? From all the rumors and speculations, the actual Dodgers owner is part of the consortium as well. So essentially, the Dodgers are going to buy us. It's not a short term I'm worried about, because Roman's going to put in contractual obligations where they'd have to spend up to, I think it's 1 billion, I think, in terms of squad and stadium and facilities. So, I mean, Roman's going to put us... He's going to put us in a good shape short term, but it's after the contractual obligations. And what Sky Sports are saying is kind of what's true. It's like, we don't know the true intent of these owners. Short term, they might put the money in, but long term, they're just going to maybe not take money out, take little bits of money out of our club. But it's all a long term, and it's all going to be waiting games. And yeah, and the second issue is probably the Stamford Bridge, because there's a lot of legal issues with the whole space, the properties they have to buy and stuff. It's going to be a lot of headache building it, and it's just intentional. The owners, are they going to continue doing Roman's design, or they're going to find a cheaper alternative, or you know what I mean? There's lots of issues, and the whole question mark is it's not short term, because Roman's put a legal obligation in there. It's the long term. How are we going to be 10, 15 down years? We don't know. And I think this may come back to bite me, but I think if we're going to do long term, I think it's Todd. Because based on how he structured the Dodgers and the way he's done it, currently they're on back-to-back wins at the moment, looking to defend their title. So yeah, I'm just going to say Todd in and just stick with them, really, because I don't trust the others.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, there's a lot that still needs to happen, and even like talking about it now, we're still not really in any clear waters. We're still in a lot of uncertainty in regards to where we are. But what we're trying to do is just understand. Obviously, we know it's final bid day. We know that we now know who majority of the new partners are that have joined the shortlist consortiums as well. So there's a lot still that I agree on, that we need to understand clarity in the long term, the short term, the ideas that they're putting forward, the fact that they've been told that they need to guarantee at least a 1 billion spend on the football club, which they have to detail as well to both Reign and Chelsea, is something that I think is very important and may take time, and hence why probably the prize money for the Champions League and the Premier League is allowed to be given to us due to maybe not rushing this. But I do think it will be sorted before the transfer window in June. I'll be shocked if it's not even sorted by the time that the special license that we have under the government, which runs out on the 31st of May, is, I'll be surprised if we haven't at least know who it is. Do you know what I mean? Or who it's going to be anyway. But we have to see what happens. Declared, what are you saying?
Can you hear me now?
Can hear you, mate. I can hear you.
Sorry, I don't know what happened before. I was talking.
It's all right, bro.
Talk to myself.
It's all right, mate. It's all right. So, have you been listening to what I've been going through? So, like, what are your thoughts on it all?
Look, you read out my comment too. I still don't get why Sir Martin Borden isn't the favourite, because out of all the consortiums, him and his consortium, from from the people we do know, do have EPL experience. He ran Liverpool, and at a time when Liverpool were really poor as well. He got them up pretty well. They got Crystal Palace owners in there, part owners in their consortium as well. So, I mean, just every consortium is going to come out with good points, right? But we don't know what any of them are going to do. That's where we're left in the dark, and that's what we're all dreading. What's going to happen? Our future is really unclear. So I'm trying to really pick little points like that. Like, for me, the Boehly group, I mean, he says he says he says all the great things. He's a bit of a politician. But for me, I mean, he talked about data, sensible transfers, and all that. He doesn't know anything about football.
That is true.
If it's just, and then also he's got a Tottenham supporter in his consortium, and with no disrespect, he has a really old man as a third owner as well.
He also has Mark Waters as well, who is
it's getting convoluted, isn't it now, Jim? Yeah,
well,
like everyone's just joining on. So we're going to have like a 10-man consortium.
Well, no, that's not Todd Boehly. That's Stephen Pagliuca. He's got a
I know. I'm just saying, by the time the bid's finished, you're going to see all these people just add on and add on.
You're not allowed to after today. Today's the last day. They can't do
Today's the last day. But that might be revealed after today on who joined too.
Yeah, I think that's why they're trying to clarify who. This is why I agree with the Sir Martin Brown thing. But the thing with that is that he's been so quiet. Like, I don't like nothing. We know that he's increased his bid along with the Boehly's and the Ricketts to basically fight to take over the club. We don't really know their ideas, who's a part of it. We know that Lord Coe's involved and whatever else, but I don't know. Like, I don't really. They're just gone very quiet. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if it's a good thing or.
Yeah. No, I agree. And but you know what happened when I looked into it? He actually has been active in the English media. It's just the online presence hasn't trend as as other people do.
I would be in heaven if Elon Musk.
Yeah, I think it's also probably who controls a bit of the market and who's getting their name out there. But Simona Boehly has been out there. If you listen to what he says, I think people will be on board. And I hope we get to hear from everyone, not just this. You got new owners and that's it. We don't know anything about it. Just let the process happen.
Whether it ends up becoming to be declared, the one thing I would say is that we will have to give them the opportunity, and it's not something we're going to know, like you said, very soon. It's something that we're going to need to, like I keep saying, the short term, I think they're all going to back the manager and buy players. I think they will do that just to get fans aside. But it's like you said, it's like the long term image of it. Are we actually going to see the backing? Are we going to see the backing in the long run? That's something that we have to wait and see what happens as well. But, Joey,
go on, Jim.
What are you saying, man? You alright? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm just on the train, man. Coming back to Hackney, man. My car got pounded, man. Got took yesterday, man.
Right
What
on
a
bank
game
holiday
yesterday.
weekend, bro. What's going on, man? Right on bank holiday weekend, you got that?
I'm still heartbroken from the match, man. Still heartbroken, bro.
Trust me. I
Still,
feel
but
the
what a
same.
performance, bro. What a performance.
Yeah, it's a massive performance, mate. It's massive. I don't know if you've been listening to this show today. It's been a bit more about the owners and you know the final bids and who's involved and whatever. But
Okay.
who's your favourite? Like who do you want to see take over the club?
Same as you, Jem, man. Boehly, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Most definitely. I don't want no to the Ricketts, man.
Yeah, yeah. What about Pagliuca? What do you think of that guy?
Hey?
What do you think of Stephen Pagliuca? Oh, I can see the bus. Hello, everyone. What's going on?
I'm on the train. I'm on the
The
train.
train. Is
Yeah.
that the train? What line is that?
I'm at London Fields now, man. Coming from Silver Street.
Oh, you're at Silver Street. So what is that? That's thingy, isn't it? That's what's it called? Not the Northern Line. What is it? It's the thingy line.
Central. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice to have you on, mate. First time on. Not seen
Yeah,
you
man.
before.
Good to see you, man. Why not? Why not? Why not?
Come on more, mate. Come on more for the match reactions and player ratings and stuff.
All right, most definitely, man. Yeah.
No worries, my man. No
All right,
worries.
cheers, man.
Talk to you in a bit. See you later, mate. Take care.
Cool, man.
Declared. Go on, mate. What you said?
I haven't lost my train of thought.
We was talking about the consortiums and we in between Boehly and Broughton and the whole longevity thing.
Oh
you know,
yeah. You know how there's an agreement with they have to put in 1 billion for the stadium.
Yeah.
Also, they're saying that there is another. They're going to put another billion into the club over a certain period of time. So I think this is Roman's way of probably securing, probably the next decade for us as a forced investment.
I get what you're saying. I do. I just don't know whether they could get away with I mean, the forced investment thing. I'm not 100% sure on. Don't get me wrong. I think them having to put it in guarantee. This is why I keep saying about the guarantees, like having the guarantees in place, like whoever it is that's taken over, having the guarantees in order, so that maybe if they don't, I don't know how it works. If you don't meet the guaranteed, you break the contract. I don't know. Do you get fined or something? I don't know. But to have that in place would be a good idea for us moving forward. And I hope it ain't the Ricketts. Don't get me wrong. I really don't. But
that's what I think. That's probably why the Ricketts have made it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
Because even if the Ricketts come in and there's some kind of but look, even if the Ricketts come in and there is that obligation, then even under the Ricketts, we're probably still all right for 10 years. But after that, they might
keep dreaming. Sorry, go on.
I know. Look, it's not. I don't want the Ricketts. I'm not sticking up for them. I'm just saying that it's probably how they made it so far, because they are agreeing to those requirements which are important.
Well, I'd think that most of them are.
But declared, how do they know? I was going to say, how do they know it's legal or not? Because for their interpretation, they could misinterpret and think it's just some sort of I sign it, but it's nothing legal. Whereas Romans are wanting illegal.
Yeah. I think Roman really takes this seriously, and I do think that whoever does end up being the new owner would pretty much they would have a full idea of what the plan is from start to finish, and there will be an idea of guarantees in place for that individual to carry through. And at the end of the day, whoever that ends up winning it is who they think's got the best idea to keep us elite, the best idea to develop the stadium, the best idea to develop the academy, the women's academy, whatever. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's going to be interesting. We have to see. But Fortmar, what are you saying?
This is my first time on the stream, so
sorry, how you been?
Hello. With the ownership, whoever it is, I just want them to back Tuchel because he's shown that he's a tactical masterclass, and I know that he can take us all the way.
Do you have a specific choice of owner that you would like from what you've seen up to now, or are you not really bothered?
Todd Boehly, because he said that he wants to spend smartly, and I think that's a good idea because we can't be wasting money on transfers that will go bust.
We've done that quite a lot, haven't we, under Roman Abramovich, wasting money on players we don't need, as you could say as well. But yeah, I think everyone's put aside on the Todd Boehly Consortium thing. Don't get me wrong. And the thing is, even with him, we don't know, do we? We're just forced into a corner of 3 or 4 people. Do you know what I mean? And he sounds like the one that has the clearer idea of what he wants to do. The Ricketts, I don't think do. I mean, we've not heard from Broughton, so we don't know. And Pagliuca, I don't know, because we don't know. We just start saying it's like we just so lack the clarity. Do you know what I mean?
It comes down to who the team is after the owner. Like, to be honest, you're picking straws if we're being objective, like no bias, except for the Ricketts. No to the Ricketts. But and that's coming from an American. It's just, if you're gonna look at all these people that are bidding for the club, it's what do they do in the first year and then check back in on the third. I always say this because Arsenal situation. That first year, they what did they do? They got a new stadium. They started investing in Mesut Ozils, big players, had the big stature of a big club, right?
Yeah.
It's when they started stumbling, right? When they started having periods where they weren't achieving targets, where they weren't raising the money you would be raising from winning these competitions. That's when the investment started slowing. And I urge people to go check back to Man United as well. They were winning. The money was coming into an excessive point. Man United also has a way bigger, I'm not going to say history, but like stature than Arsenal does. So they're pulling in more revenue on sales, on tickets. What happens is, depending on who the owners are, it's up to them to keep putting the investment back, as we know Roman did by himself. Now we have to have a consortium. So if Boehly operationally wants to keep investing into the club, that's all fine and dandy, but that's going to be dependent. And this goes for any of the new owners, by the way. And that's the only thing I agree with what Rams is saying in the chat. This is why Chelsea is going to be different. Because even if Boehly knows, okay, we need Tchouaméni, we need Koundé, and we need to sell Lukaku.
We need more than we think.
No. We do. Yeah, I know. But I'm saying the funny thing is, Jem, we can't think about, we won't be able to get all of that at once. Do you understand? That's gone. It's over. The fun times are listen. The times of a 225 redesign forward line will not happen unless we have not won something for several plus years.
I don't agree with that.
We did that off of a transfer ban, but realistically, Roman was going to do that shit anyway. We know who Roman is. He was going to drop that money regardless.
But Kelly, we shouldn't look at specifically the money. We should be looking at they could spend.
No. I'm touching on far more than just the money. I'm saying Roman had the acumen to look at the game and go, okay, I need this to make the team more rounded. I need to invest this into the academy to make sure that we're producing better
some
products.
very dodgy decisions when you think about transfers and things. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
As great as Roman's been, and listen, if he could stay, I wish he would. But because of his love and understanding of the club, you're right. Whoever comes in is not going to have that straight away. Can they build towards that and build their own image? Yes, that can happen. But at the same time, I do feel that in terms of spending, like buying players, I don't think spending better. Well, I think we'll just spend better. I'm hoping.
I don't think we'll have a better owner per se, but we could be run better as a club. I've always said this. Think about we for most of the time, other than the pandemic, we're pulling in positive net spends. Imagine if we didn't take any, if we mitigated 100 million on Lukaku, or I don't know how I feel about Timo Werner anymore after the Real Madrid performance, but we could touch upon that on another day. I told you, Jam, I told you before that game happened. I said if he scored an important goal, he stays at the club. But that's a separate topic. But Lukaku has to go. If we could learn to let go of Alonso for 15 million, things like that.
It's just cutting your losses, though, isn't it? That's Marina as well. That's the other thing we've got to bear in mind.
And that's my point about the new owners. It's more than just them being willing to cut a check. Who is going to be in the board? Who's going to be the board of directors? Are we keeping the same board of directors? Who's going to be in our scouting team now? Are we getting new scouts? Because those are the areas that Chelsea have been lacking, regardless of Roman. That was lacking before Roman. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I hear you.
that's what I'm interested in from the owners, is
I
because
hear you. I
everybody.
hear you. Yeah, go on.
No, I was just saying everybody's gonna come through and drop cash in that first year. We all know it. We all know it. The sales are gonna be immaculate. You know what I mean? They're gonna come in and they're gonna splash cash. It's what are you gonna do in regards to the stadium, and what are you gonna do to back this manager? Because realistically, he has
Well,
a shelf life
but
of 4 years.
these, I don't agree with all that. But these are all things that we know that we need to see, and they're not going to happen overnight. And that's why I keep trying to explain to people. It's not something that we can like whoever eventually takes over this football club is going to have an understanding and projects and idea of what they want to do. We're not going to see that all straight away, which is why I keep saying to people we've got to give time to it, because it can't just be 2 years down the line we want Boehly out. Does that make sense? It needs.
Oh, but it's gonna be like that, Jim. I'm not saying like
I know, but it shouldn't. Is what I'm
yeah,
saying, because
absolutely.
we need to understand where they're going with it. Look, I give it a 3-4 year project. If we don't see anything after the coming years, any development of the team starts losing because we're not buying in players, the manager's not being back, no stadium being built.
Tell-
Then we should start. The red flags will flag. Do you know what I mean? But I think
Jim,
I think the whole idea of why it may take a bit longer, which with what we spoke about today in some of the tweets that we went through, is because I feel that there's going to be guarantees in play. And I do think that whoever takes over is going to be not false, but made to oblige to make sure that they're doing certain things to keep the club not only elite, but also, growing.
right.
Growth, because we are going £3 billion of what Roman Abramovich has done is huge, but it's then seeing if we can expand that and grow that, and whoever's coming in is going to want to expand that. They're not going to want to sit on
Of course,
what we
that's how you
officially
make
are.
profit.
Yeah.
But
So
Jen,
exactly.
this is what I'm saying. In
Yeah.
5 years, look at our team, and I know, like we could do a whole nother stream about this. We know who needs to be replaced, where we need backup, all of those things. But having said all of that, look at how our team has performed this year. It is no stretch for me to say, and this is honestly being gracious, in 5 years, whoever the new owner is, we should have honestly won the Prem again or the Champions League again. And that's me being humble.
No, I agree.
In 5 years with this manager, because I imagine in 5 years, if this manager hasn't won the Prem or the Champions League, then something has gone terribly wrong, because he has the quality to do it. He just needs the backing. So in 5 years, if this manager is still our manager, if he's been backed, I guarantee we will have won the Premier League or Champions League.
Well, it's just backing him and keeping him, isn't it? And I agree with what you're saying. I think every owner that comes in is going to want to keep Tuchel. They can probably see how special he is to the fan base and how close he is to the fan base from picking up how we feel as well. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with all that soon. Matty, what are you saying?
How you doing, boys? You all right? I mean, to be fair, it's going to be interesting from this point now, because now we're going to find out what the bids are going to be all about. I'm not particularly a big fan of the Martin Broughton, but at the same time, I'd rather have Martin Broughton. I've called them the Dickets now rather than the Rickets. So, but I mean, Stephen Pagliuca's bid's quite interesting. For a minute, actually, I thought it was a name of a tortilla trip, actually, and then I did some more research, and actually, he's bringing in some hell of a
But not
partnership.
too many, though, Matty. Do you not feel there's
Yeah.
too many names involved, which is
there's too many chefs, isn't there? And it's a bit of an unusual one, especially when one backs out. And it's probably the most messiest one, actually, that's on the actual list, really. But I'd have to say probably the Boehly one's probably the one that we're all hoping for.
What are your thoughts on the Ricketts bringing on this Cobra beer founder and be a long-term Chelsea season ticket holder? What do you feel?
PR. It's it was the same with the South Korean lady bringing in Nick, partnering up with Nick Candy. It's all PR. The Ricketts will do anything possible to sweeten the deal. They'll do it all the time, and it's, to be quite honest with you, it's always going to be the same. Oh well, we've brought this Chelsea fan along with us. He's only there for the ride. I mean, to be honest with you, Ken Griffin really should have gone on his own. If he wanted to make a bid, he should have gone in on his own and not gone with the Ricketts, to be quite honest with you. But that's my opinion on it anyway.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear what you're saying, my man. We got the Winter Surfer in the house as well. What's happening, Winter Surfer?
All right, lads, all good.
All good,
Thursday,
mate.
everyone's happy because we're closer to the
Bank holiday,
weekend.
innit?
So,
You know,
yeah,
it
bank
is what it
holiday,
is.
yeah, it's all good. It's all good. All good. Don't eat your Easter eggs until tomorrow. That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying to
and
you.
make
Yeah.
sure you only have fish, isn't it, instead of meat? You're not allowed to have meat tomorrow. You can have
I
fish.
don't know.
I mean, it don't apply to me because I don't like
Yeah.
fish. But anyway,
Exactly.
another day.
Yeah.
Winter Surfer, what's your thoughts on? I don't know if you've watched most of the stream, but I've been really delving into what are these consultants made up of? Who are involved? Kind of trying to understand it by the best as I possibly can to share it with you guys as well and whatever else. But what's your overall thoughts on where we stand to this point with all the owners, new owners?
Another deadline. Let's see when the next deadline is. Deadline after deadline at the moment. With these investors, I just think it's fine bringing them on, but what do they expect? Do they expect to be paid back in a certain time? They've said, we've been reading PR stuff about none of these bids are going to put debt on the club. Okay,
cash payments.
Cash payments. They've got to put down. It's in writing. Apparently, they've got to commit at least $1 billion. Up front to give to Chelsea. So straight up. So what are they looking for? Americans, it's very. It depends what American only have. Some Americans only get it to make money. Some do get it for the glory, but I don't know. Like I said, with the investors, like, are they going to be paid off in time, and then the consortium whittles down? It starts to whittle down the ownership.
Yeah.
Is Todd Boehly the face of this? Because apparently, I was reading he's gonna, some like firm will own 50% of the club, and then him and his consortium.
Yeah, he's the face still. He's the operation.
So
I read that already. I actually went into it. Yeah, he's the main face.
See the face, and like I say, who gets paid off first in what time? Is there a set thing where people are going to start being paid off in 5 years' time, or because we have to get the stadium sorted out, we have to get contracts sorted out, we have to get players in and out?
They're not making any time. They're not making no money anytime soon.
That's what I'm saying. So it's not as if they're going to make all that whatever they're putting in the 2.75 billion in a matter of years. So it's very strange. And then, like you said, how many people are these going to be silent partners, or are they going to be big mouth partners? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who has a say? Do you have to wait and conference call everyone?
There's a lot of unclarity. I've been saying that through the show. Like, I feel like because we're just not involved heavily in what's going on with it, we just don't know the ins and outs of what is the what not only is the requirement for the owner of taking over the football club, but like what are the plans? What is the idea of these partners combining? And obviously they must know they're not going to make their money back soon. It's going to be about investing, and I think
it's about turning us into a business. That's what I think is the long-term aim.
Well, I think we have to prepare for that, but providing that we're still at that elite level, winning things, and they're still backing the managers correctly, then it makes sense.
All elite teams are like that in the modern era.
Football is a business right now, so that's how it is now. It's not like the old days when it was football and no business. It's all about money. Don't forget that.
Yeah, and ironically enough, Roman was the last owner, you could say, of the generation of when the football owners actually cared about the club. Now everything's just business.
Yes, we can't get another Roman. That's a problem we're going to have. We just have to get along and deal with it. We will never have anyone near a Roman Abramovich. He was a lover of Chelsea. This lot, end of the day, they're all for the money. That's how it is.
It is what it is, and I agree massively. I mean, Winter Surfer, on this comment here where it says about the UK's government special licence ends on the 31st, there's also talks about the transfer window being on the 10th, and then it says if a sale isn't finalised by then, and the licence isn't amended / extended, then Thomas Tuchel won't be able to bring in any new players. How do you feel about that comment? I just feel that we will have an owner by then. But
I think we will. But if everyone actually looks back at how Chelsea do transfer business, we never bring in anyone on the first day. it takes us like 6 weeks to negotiate things. So I remember the past summer we had Koundé wrapped up for 6 weeks and then it didn't happen. But on a serious note, listen, I think it'll be sorted. It'll be sorted then. I think once they have a preferred bidder, then they'll have talk about whatever the license is to extend it. So once they have the bidder, then they can actually do the license where we can start to do normal things. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to it. Like I said, the deadline's today. They'll announce the preferred bidder next week, I was reading, and then we go from there. So
it's just signing it off, and how quick can that be done?
Yeah.
We know the government needs to be approached for special licensing. We know that at the same time they're going to do their due diligence and check which is, even if that takes a couple of weeks, you're still well within, May, should we say? Do you know what I mean?
A lot of the season to go. You know what I mean? So there's still games coming up. That'll take your mind off things. And we just got, ironically, we've got to do what we don't do in this fan base. We've got to have patience. So let's see if we can do that.
Marina is slow. Maybe we can get a faster version of Marina. Well,
Marina is as polarizing as Mount is. I didn't realize that in the fan base. But now I realize, like, people either love her or hate her. Like, there's no.
I like Marina. I got no problem with her personally.
Yeah, it's great.
I don't really get the hate for Marina, to be honest. I don't. I think she's made some funny decisions, don't get me wrong, but in terms of who's been brought in, but at the same time, she's made some good ones since she's been
I'd say that she's acting more on the scouting, really, isn't she? The scouting and everything else has been at fault. And don't forget, we were scouting flipping Callum Wilson, flipping Bakayoko. We've had some right dire
but that's not
players that
based on Marina, though.
Bakayoko could have been good.
So it's not all on Marina. So it's not Marina. Marina just did what she did as a business. You've got to remember she was responsible for bringing in so many big players in on, look at Kai Havertz. We could have paid about over 120 million pounds for that player, and we didn't. And that was all because Marina
paid for him anyway. we told, remember that? We paid 70 million for Havertz.
Yeah. Yeah, he won us the Champions League, which, let's face it, for 75 million, do you think Lukaku would do that? No, we paid more for him, So I think it's all going to be about strategy, about who's going to update the scouting and everything else, and who's going to get the best out of this club. And it's not all about the short term; it has to be long term as well. And for me, I think any owner that comes into this club will be watched like a hawk, because if they're not produce, if they're not putting money in every year, if they're not looking to do anything for the club every year, they'll be judged. And at the end of the day, I think that's going to be something that not the Chelsea fan base in general, but it'll be footballing fans in general that will be watching it.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%. Anyone else got any final words? Because I'm going to go watch the game.
I will say that they need to. Hopefully, they've got things that whoever the preferred bidder is, they start, if they haven't already, start to get things lined up, who they want to keep in the board, infrastructure, and stuff like that. Have a chat with Thomas Tuchel, what the plans are, and so instead of like faffing about when it's properly announced, they can just get things going right away. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of transfers that were probably nearly finished from a few seasons before. And just kick them off. Like Koundé could be done straight away.
Let me ask the chat just really quick.
As long as whoever is backs Tuchel, gives him at least 3-year contract, then I'll be happy, because Tuchel knows what to do, and if that happens,
this is what I was saying to the chat.
Win the league next year and the Champions League. Not in 5 years' time or 10, next year.
It's not happening, Nick Blue, man. Come on, stop it.
I'm saying
anyway,
if we competed, Jim, in the prior 2 decades, Chelsea has consistently won the most trophies. We competed with less resources. So why is it like so hard to believe that this should be like a simple process? I don't mean like it is gonna happen overnight or anything like that. But we have the foundation to continue competing. We were not far off from City or Liverpool's level. What we needed was consistency. So,
but the difference is, Cardi,
No, I know. But I'm saying when new owners come in, we should not be getting further from City and Liverpool. It shouldn't be happening that way.
Yeah, you know, we had
our version of competing.
Oh, also,
anyway.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim. Sorry about that. That's all.
No, that's fine. Kenny, anyway.
We had everything against us this year, and we should be proud of the team, especially against Real Madrid. And we should be proud because they had everything. Look, I wonder what it's like when they, trying to play football, and they're thinking about when Roman left, and they're thinking who's going to be the new owner. Are we going to still be at Chelsea? Rudiger, Ziyech, and all these players, they've done all the rickets for sure. It's a lot of things happening. So I'm very proud of the team so far. They've done great, even if we went out of the Champions.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of pressure on us, and Tuchel's, I think, doing very well to handle it as well, which is a massive thing as well. And to be fair, there's going to be a lot of more news coming out, guys. Trust me, next week I'm sure we will be a lot more clearer in regards to the new owner situation. And Piers will be joining me next week at some point as well, so we can go through that as well. So make sure you stay tuned. We're 10 away from 5.1k subscribers. So if you are new, before you leave, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Get this up to 150 likes as well. I won't be back tomorrow or Saturday, but I'll be back Sunday in the morning, but afternoon before the Chelsea game. I'll be doing the preview before the game. So if you're not doing anything Sunday, something to do, you can come and sit here for a bit, talk about the game, and then go and watch the game after. That's the plan anyway. So there's not much else to not much. I go a little break, man. I need to have a break, to be honest.
No,
I need
please
a break
take a
from
break.
everything that we've been through this week as well with Chelsea and Real Madrid and everything. It's just it's a lot. Sometimes you need to give yourself a bit of mind, but it's hard. It's hard because I'm so used to sitting here every day talking Chelsea. It's
Yeah, I thought you'd be.
Hassan, your microphone's died again, mate. Anyway, guys,
no to Rick, it's a Pulisic out.
Yeah, I thought you'd be.
Yeah, Hassan,
just leave it, Hassan.
Anyway, Hassan, just stop talking. Just stop talking, please. Make sure that you smash the like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Big up to everyone that was on here today. Respect to you all. Enjoy your bank holiday break. If it's bank holiday where you are, I don't know. I think it's only in England, isn't it? Or is it everywhere? I don't even know. But
Pulisic out.
Pulisic out. Werner in. Shake it all about. Do the Agakoti and turn around.
No to Ricketts.
Bye, guys. Take care. Bye.